You're so obsessed with you. Don't, do you?
I'm going to teach you the rules again. You're the Attorney General of the United States. We have rules here.
You're obsessed with him.
You're the Attorney General of the United States.
Obsessed with Donald Trump.
February 14th, 2026, 5:47 a.m. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department headquarters. Captain Marcus Rhodes arrives for his morning shift. 23-year veteran, decorated officer, commander of the department's narcotics interdiction unit. He parks in his reserved space. Badge number 2847 gleaming under the Nevada sun. He never makes it to his office. 12 FBI agents converge. Tactical vests, weapons drawn, federal warrants in hand. Within 90 seconds, Captain Rhodes is in federal custody. The charges: racketeering, drug trafficking conspiracy, money laundering, obstruction of justice. The betrayal: unthinkable. For 11 years, Marcus Rhodes worked for the Sinaloa cartel. Not against them, for them. The man tasked with stopping drug trafficking into Las Vegas was facilitating it, protecting it, profiting from it, and the scale of his operation would expose the largest law enforcement corruption case in Nevada history. The investigation begins with a single thread. The unraveling starts in October 2025. DEA agents intercept a shipment at the California-Nevada border. 43 kilograms of fentanyl. Street value approximately $8 million. Standard procedure follows. Arrests made. Phones seized. Data extracted. Then something unusual surfaces. Buried in encrypted communications, references to SHIELD. A code name. Someone inside law enforcement. Someone providing advance warning of interdiction operations. Someone rerouting shipments away from surveillance zones. The messages contain operational details that only someone with access to classified briefings could possess. Shift schedules, checkpoint locations, informant identities, undercover officer assignments. Federal investigators establish a task force. FBI, DEA, Internal Affairs. They begin the methodical work of narrowing possibilities. Who has access to this information? Who attends the relevant briefings? Who controls the operational calendar for narcotics enforcement? The circle tightens around the narcotics interdiction unit. For 6 months, federal agents conduct electronic surveillance. They monitor communications. Track financial transactions. Document meeting locations. They watch as Captain Rhodes exhibits patterns impossible to explain through legitimate income. The bank records tell a story. Between January 2015 and December 2025, over $75 million flows through accounts connected to Rhodes. Shell companies in Delaware. Limited liability corporations in Wyoming. Offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. Wire transfers from Mexico City. Cryptocurrency conversions through unlicensed exchanges. A police captain earning $98,000 annually somehow controls a financial empire rivaling mid-level corporate executives. The scope expands beyond expectations. Federal investigators discover Rhodes doesn't operate alone. Lieutenant David Chen, Sergeant Patricia Morrison, Detective James Kovac, Detective Angela Torres, all members of the narcotics unit. All receiving payments. All compromised. The corruption runs deeper than individual officers. Rhodes has systematically positioned his assets throughout the department's drug enforcement apparatus. Every critical choke point covered. Every vulnerability exploited. Every safeguard neutralized. The cartel doesn't just have an informant inside Las Vegas Metro. They own the entire interdiction infrastructure. Evidence recovered from digital devices reveals the operational framework. Cartel shipments receive advance notification of law enforcement activities. Legitimate investigations get redirected away from protected corridors. Evidence from non-cartel operations gets mishandled, ensuring successful prosecutions, while cartel operations remain untouched. High-value targets receive warnings before raids. Confidential informants working against the cartel get exposed, often with fatal consequences. In November 2023, a confidential informant named Rafael Mendoza provides information about a cartel distribution network in Henderson. 2 weeks later, Mendoza disappears. His body surfaces in the Mojave Desert 3 months afterward. Execution-style killing. Forensic analysis of communication records shows Rhodes accessed Mendoza's file 4 days before the informant vanished. Federal prosecutors will argue Rhodes directly contributed to Mendoza's murder. The financial architecture of betrayal. Follow the money. Always follow the money. Forensic accountants reconstruct the payment structure. The cartel operates with corporate efficiency. Monthly retainers. Performance bonuses. Operational incentives. Rhodes receives $50,000 monthly as base compensation. Additional payments occur after successful operations. Shipments that pass through protected corridors trigger bonus payments. Intelligence that prevents interdictions earns premium fees. Between 2015 and 2025, Rhodes personally receives approximately $18 million. His subordinates receive scaled compensation. Chen collects $12 million. Morrison receives $9 million. Kovac and Torres each pocket $7 million. The payments flow through an intricate network designed to obscure their origin. Initial transfers arrive from seemingly legitimate businesses in Mexico. Import-export companies. Agricultural suppliers. Tourism ventures. These entities exist solely on paper. Money moves from Mexico to intermediary accounts in Hong Kong and Singapore. From there, funds transfer to shell corporations in tax-friendly American jurisdictions. Finally, the money arrives in personal accounts disguised as consulting fees, investment returns, and business income. The laundering operation demonstrates sophisticated financial engineering. Multiple jurisdictions. Layered transactions. Plausible deniability at each stage. But federal investigators possess the entire paper trail. Operational mechanics of corruption. How does it work in practice? Every Tuesday, the Narcotics Unit conducts operational planning meetings. Upcoming enforcement actions get discussed. Resources get allocated. Intelligence gets shared. These meetings occur in a secure conference room. Classified information. Restricted access. Rhodes attends every meeting. Within hours, encrypted summaries reach cartel operatives. Checkpoint schedules. Surveillance targets. Informant operations. Undercover deployments. Everything the cartel needs to operate with impunity. Federal agents recover communication logs showing the system in action. September 15th, 2024. Planning meeting identifies Highway 95 as focus for weekend interdiction operations. Extra units deployed. K-9 teams positioned. Intelligence suggests major shipment expected. September 15th, 2024. 2:37 p.m. Rhodes sends encrypted message. Highway 95 flagged as high-risk corridor. Alternative routes recommended. September 16th, 2024. Cartel shipment travels Interstate 15 instead. 400 kilograms of methamphetamine reaches Las Vegas. Zero law enforcement contact. Rhodes receives $75,000 bonus payment 3 days later. The pattern repeats consistently across 11 years. The net closes. January 2026. Federal investigators have sufficient evidence. Grand jury returns sealed indictments. Arrest warrants prepared. Coordination meetings conducted between FBI, D, and local authorities. But there's a problem. Arresting Rhodes during normal operations risks alerting his network. Conspirators might destroy evidence. Flee jurisdiction. Warn cartel leadership. Federal agents need simultaneous arrests. Everyone taken into custody before anyone realizes the operation is happening. February 14th, 2026 becomes execution date. Synchronized raids across Las Vegas. Rhodes at headquarters, Chen at his residence. Morrison during her commute. Kovac and Torres at separate locations. 12 arrest teams. Coordinated timing. No communication gaps. 5:47 a.m. Operations commence. All 5 targets in federal custody within 20 minutes. No resistance, no warning, no escape. Search warrants executed at residences. Officers discover cash, encrypted devices, burner phones, and documentation connecting them to cartel operations. Rhodes's home contains $400,000 in bundled currency hidden in a basement safe. Financial records detailing payments. Photographs of meetings with known cartel associates. Evidence sufficient to support multiple life sentences. The courtroom reckoning. March 2026. Initial court appearances. Federal prosecutors present overwhelming evidence. Bank records. Communication logs. Surveillance footage. Testimony from undercover federal agents who infiltrated cartel operations. Financial analysis demonstrating unexplained wealth. Digital forensics connecting defendants to criminal conspiracies. Defense attorneys attempt damage control. They argue entrapment. Claim evidence obtained illegally. Challenge witness credibility. File motion after motion. Everything gets denied. The evidence is too comprehensive, too carefully gathered, too methodically documented. By June 2026, all 5 defendants accept plea agreements. Rhodes receives 45 years in federal prison. Chen gets 35 years. Morrison receives 30 years. Kovac and Torres each accept 25-year sentences. No possibility of parole under federal sentencing guidelines. Asset forfeiture proceedings seize millions in cash, real estate, vehicles, and offshore accounts. Impact beyond individual cases. The damage extends beyond criminal convictions. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department faces institutional crisis. How did 5 corrupt officers operate undetected for over a decade? What systemic failures enabled this betrayal? Who else might be compromised? Federal oversight imposed. Independent monitors assigned. Complete review of narcotics operations mandated. Every case handled by the corrupted unit undergoes examination. Defense attorneys file motions to overturn convictions in cases involving Rhodes and his team. Chain of custody questions. Evidence tampering concerns. Constitutional violations. Hundreds of cases potentially compromised. Criminal enterprises prosecuted by corrupt officers might walk free. Victims of cartel violence seek answers about whether law enforcement betrayal contributed to their losses. Families of murdered informants file wrongful death lawsuits against the department. The financial liability alone approaches hundreds of millions. But the human cost cannot be measured in dollars. Rafael Mendoza, 34 years old. Father of 3. His information could have dismantled a major distribution network. Instead, his cooperation became his death sentence. Because the officer he trusted sold him to the cartel. How many others? Federal investigators identify at least 6 additional informants who were exposed during Rhodes's tenure. 3 are confirmed dead. 2 disappeared and are presumed deceased. 1 survived an assassination attempt and lives under federal protection. Each exposure traces back to information only Rhodes could access. The larger pattern. This case is not isolated. Law enforcement corruption connected to drug cartels represents a growing national security threat. The Sinaloa cartel alone maintains an estimated network of corrupted officials across multiple agencies and jurisdictions. Border Patrol agents, local police, county sheriffs, state investigators, even federal agents. The economics make corruption inevitable for those vulnerable to temptation. Cartels generate billions annually. They can outbid legitimate law enforcement salaries by orders of magnitude. They offer wealth, security, and protection. They threaten families, careers, and lives for those who refuse. The combination of incentive and coercion proves remarkably effective. Every compromised officer represents a breach in the entire enforcement ecosystem. Investigations fail. Shipments succeed. Violence escalates. Communities suffer. Trust in institutions erodes. The Rhodes case demonstrates the methodology. Identify vulnerable personnel. Initiate contact carefully. Establish relationship gradually. Provide initial payments for low-risk intelligence. Escalate involvement incrementally. Create financial dependency. Build compromise. Maintain control through combination of reward and threat. By the time officers realize how deeply embedded they've become, extraction is nearly impossible. Systemic vulnerabilities exposed. Federal analysis reveals troubling patterns. Background investigations miss financial irregularities when officers use sophisticated laundering techniques. Internal Affairs lacks resources for proactive monitoring of personnel finances. Compartmentalized information flow prevents pattern recognition across agencies. Encrypted communication technologies enable secure coordination between corrupt officers and criminal enterprises. Security clearance processes designed to catch foreign intelligence threats often miss domestic corruption indicators. An officer can maintain access to classified information while simultaneously working for criminal organizations, provided their lifestyle doesn't raise obvious red flags. Rhodes lived modestly. No mansion, no exotic cars, no conspicuous consumption. He deposited most payments into offshore accounts and shell companies. His visible lifestyle matched his official salary. The wealth remained hidden until federal forensic accountants conducted deep analysis. How many others operate similarly? Ongoing investigations. The Rhodes case generates additional leads. Communications recovered from seized devices identify other potentially compromised individuals, not just in Las Vegas. Phoenix, San Diego, Albuquerque, El Paso. Cities along major trafficking corridors show similar patterns of suspicious activity. Federal task forces expand nationwide. The Department of Justice announces Operation Shieldbreak, dedicated resources for investigating law enforcement corruption connected to drug trafficking organizations. Enhanced financial monitoring, improved internal controls, expanded cooperation between federal and local agencies. But challenges remain substantial. Cartels adapt quickly. New encryption methods, alternative communication channels, more sophisticated financial structures. They learn from each successful prosecution and adjust their operational security. The war between law enforcement and organized crime continues evolving. The price of betrayal. Marcus Rhodes will spend the rest of his life in federal prison. So will his co-conspirators. Their careers destroyed, reputations obliterated, families shattered. The millions they accumulated now seized by the government. Was it worth it? That question haunts every case of corruption. The temporary wealth, the false sense of invincibility, the belief they could maintain the deception indefinitely. All of it collapses eventually. It always collapses. The damage they caused during their 11-year operation extends far beyond their personal accountability. Lives lost, cases compromised, community trust destroyed, institutional credibility damaged, the work of thousands of honest officers undermined by the actions of 5 corrupt individuals. And somewhere in Mexico, cartel leadership views this as a business expense. They lost their Las Vegas network. They'll build another one. Different officers, same methodology. The cycle continues. Your shield or theirs. Every badge represents a promise. To protect, to serve, to uphold the law. That promise forms the foundation of civil society. When officers betray that trust, they don't just commit individual crimes. They damage the entire system. Captain Marcus Rhodes chose which side to serve. He chose the cartel's money over his oath. He chose personal enrichment over public safety. He chose to become the very thing he swore to fight. The consequences extend beyond his prison sentence. Every officer now faces additional scrutiny. Every legitimate investigation encounters skepticism. Every community interaction carries the shadow of betrayal. Rebuilding that trust requires years of consistent integrity from thousands of officers working to overcome the damage caused by a few. The question facing every law enforcement professional becomes clear. Whose shield will you carry? The one that protects the community or the one that protects the criminals? Marcus Rhodes made his choice. $75 million bought his loyalty. 45 years in federal prison is the price he pays. But the cost to everyone else? That calculation continues far beyond any courtroom.